I'm a nursing director, and here are 5 things that you must know and ask any nursing college before you decide to start school. Number one, affordability. So basically, the pricing is important, right? When you're structuring your program, you want to make sure that it's comfortable, it's affordable, right? Number one, most schools want that, but you also have to consider what are they getting in this package, what is included. Many schools will have the students with just a tuition itself, and then they'll have other resources that they're going to require. Those are your books, those are your technology fees, those are your graduation fees, and any like application fees, whatever those fees may be, even entrance exam fees, HESI or ATI exit exam fees. Are all those included? Are clinicals? Let's talk about clinicals. Are your when you come here or come to Florida or any school that you're going to choose, are you is travel included? My travel expenses included. Is my housing included? Lodging, food, transportation. You have to ask those questions. What is included in this fee that I am looking to pay or wanting to pay? Many schools may have it separately, two different divisions here. Here at North Palm College, it's all included. We included it for you because we're looking at what you need. And we understand when you break up your cost in different categories, it can be quite expensive. And that's the difference what we have compared to what other schools may have. So like I said, it's all included. So your books included, your uniforms are included, your technology fees are included, your exam fees are included, even your NCLEX exam prep is included. The background check, all of those when it comes to preparing for your NCLEX, we cover that cost even to take that 8-year exam. So all of that is included in your tuition. We call it the one-stop shop approach, and we take all the guesswork out. That's what we do here at North Palm College. That's what makes us very different from others. And yeah, pretty much that's where we are. Number two, credibility. Very, very important. Is this school credible? Is it one of those schools that just showed up yesterday? Is it a school that's been around for hundreds of years? It is a school that's been around 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Are they transparent? Transparency is important because at the end of the day, it's the education that you're giving the students. You can't make all these empty promises and don't deliver. You can't tell a student basically, okay, you're going to get all these courses, or you're going to come to Florida and you're going to do these and you're going to do this clinical and you're going to get all of these what we promised in upfront. Once you get into the program, next thing you know, you're paying for everything, or you don't have the instructors that you need, or all of it. You just have to be honest. Number one, you have to just tell the student everything they need to know up front and continue that conversation all the way till they graduate. So transparency is huge for us, and customer service is humongous for us. And if they have what they need, and we tell them all about North Palm or us here, then they will not have no doubts as they enter into the program because they're consistently getting what we have already promised them that they would get. And that's where we are right now with at the school. Number three, does it work with my schedule? Well, the daily schedule is like the be all end all in a lot of cases for students. The first question they're going to ask is how long is the program? Because if you're talking about a 3-year program compared to a 9-month program, hello, I think I may go to the 9 month. But what's it going to take for me to go to a 9-month accelerated program? How much hours do I need? So the first thing is to find out how in depth, how in depth is the curriculum itself? Do I get days off? How can I do this? How many classes am I going to take each quarter, each term, whatever that may be? I need to know how many classes I'm going to take and what does that entail? How many assignments possibly do am I going to be submitting every week? How much reading do I have to do every week? When are my exams? When do I get take my exams? How does all that work? Can my time that I have, my personal life time that I have, can it complement what I have to do for nursing school? Am I willing to make any adjustments, change my work schedule if I do have one, or my life schedule to accommodate school? And I always tell students, if that's the case, you're going to have to really think it through and start making that schedule for yourself. Look at what you can deliver to yourself, because you're on a mission. You want to be a nurse for a reason. So you're going to have to make some type of sacrifice, whatever that may be, because we all know that nursing school is not easy. So, yes, you're going to get assignments. Yes, you're going to get multiple assignments. Yes, you're going to have your exams. Yes, you're going to read. But all that, you got to have to try to fit that in. This is why we always work with our students to create that schedule so we can look and visually see it to get it done the right way. Because time management is the key. So the way that works is when a student, because it's a process from when they enroll through and then they enter into the actual program after orientation. So before they enroll, sorry, not before, when they enrolled into the program, they have to meet with their academic advisor. They're all assigned a academic, not an enrollment advisor, an academic advisor. Now that individual or the individuals, what they do is work with this. They introduce themselves. They get to know who the student is, or are. They get to know who they are, and they start pinpointing areas that, you start to get to know who they are. So, what do you work? Where do you work? What do you do? How much time do you have in the day? And then you start talking about that scheduling from that point, right? That's literally a touch point, the first touch point that they're going to have after they actually enroll, before they even start the program, before they actually start on day one. They're meeting with the advisor prior to. So so they meet and get that touch point done. So we're already embedded that scheduling in their head ahead of time. Now it's time for orientation. Orientation, we go over this again. And this is where the expectations are discussed and everything else related to the program and history and so on. And we talk about scheduling once again, that now they have to start creating. But at this point now, after the call, after they're finished with the orientation, they're going to now go back to their academic advisor now to do onboarding. So now they're actually onboarding into the systems, all the platforms that we have, and then they're also going to now really meet with the advisor and start that scheduling process. Let's look at everything now. Now that you have your detailed academic schedule, we know which courses you're taking, how many courses you're taking, and now we could really look at the detail, with your personal life, and now it's going to be your school life. What does that look like? And then they have to jot it down, and they don't have to do it right there on the call, because there's going to be another touch point after that, about a week later, or depending if they would need to meet prior to that, or they have any questions, they are able to do that. But the advisor is going to reach back out again and say, okay, well, let's talk about the schedule. Let's see what that looks like. Because now they're actually starting their courses. They're starting their assignments. So now they have to get acclimated to it. So we'll see what that looks like. And a lot of times what we will hear is like, oh wow, there was a lot of reading and I have to do the assignments and this and this. So now they're seeing the reality of what it really looks like. So at this point, this is where I can step in, or the advisor continues to do what she's doing. This is where we have that communication, because we do meet on a daily basis to talk about any students, or whatever's happening with any students. With that communication is always there, always. So I jump in, and if a student is maybe say struggling, I come in as the director, um, and or the instructors will step in at the same time at that point. So there is a check and balance to make sure that they are on track, their schedule is completed, and we have like a threshold, or you may call points, where they have to check back with us, or we check back with them, and we'll see where they are at that point. But a lot of times it's usually after the first assignment. Let's see how you do on your first assignment, the reading and so on, and then we're going to come back to the table and tell me all about it. How was that and what was going on? So we really, really, to be honest with you, we hold their hands for a while, for a few weeks. We'll hold the student's hand, and make sure that they're comfortable, they're acclimated to the programs, to the platforms and everything else. And we do that on a daily, but especially if it's a new student. So that's basically what, when it comes to scheduling, what that would look like. A lot of colleges don't hold your hand that way. I know this. They don't hold your hands. You're online. You barely may know even know who your teacher is or your director or all that. For those who've been online will understand that. I was online as well. I didn't even know who my teacher was, my instructor. Like I barely reached out to her, but she was grading my papers. So for us to have that real time communication consistently with our students, that speaks volumes because that's what we have, and it's the channel that we have that where they can live chat or get on a call real quick through our huddle. So that's that. Number four, can I transfer my credits to another school? Yeah, that's a very good question. So the reason why students may want to transfer their credits to another program is many times if the actual school have a program that they can bridge into, it's never an issue. A lot of times when they want to move on to their BSN for that, for example, or a master's degree or a doctorate degree, for example, then they're going to search for other schools that can offer that. That school now will want to see their transcripts. And then that school will evaluate their transcript accordingly based on where they have gone to school. And one of the criteria is looking to see if the school is accredited, right? Do they have an accreditation? Do they have the regional accreditation, national accreditation? What is the accreditation that they have? They will look at that 9 out of 10 times, or a very high number, where if the school is accredited, then it's usually not an issue to transfer credits. But once again, it all depends on the school they're selecting to go to. So if you want the Ivy League school, they're going to be more rigorous. They're going to be more rigid with their selections, right? You may have to have a certain grade point average, not only just to transfer out and you transfer with a C average or 2.0. If you have a 4.0 or 3.5, then you're going to look real good opposed to a 2.0 average person, a student who've graduated from a school. So those are criteria that they do look at. What I always tell students is we cannot speak for other schools, and we know that our curriculum matches up with other schools, universities, and the fact that we are eventually will in the process of getting our accreditation, so there shouldn't be that kind of that concern. But in the meantime, what schools tend to do, some of them will do, is reach out to us, the school, and ask the question, or want to see our curriculum, or they may have the students send it over. It all varies, depends on what school they're selecting to go to. So that's a possibility there, but we're comfortable with what we do offer and the curriculum that's in place in order to get that transferred out, because they have to. There's criteria that they look at when it comes to transferring. Like they always look at, who's teaching the course. Are they what level of degrees do they have? That's a huge one. Are they doctorate prepared, master's prepared, bachelor's prepared? Depends on the program, right? So if you're moving to another higher level of a BSN, that means you have to have a master's degree or doctorate, right? If you're in a doctorate program, then of course you need a doctor who's going to a doctorate prepared individual that will be, or instructor that will be teaching you. So it all depends. So they look at that. You don't want to, definitely by criteria, if you have like our program, a ASN program, we have to teach either with a bachelor's or a master's degree. We have that option, but we don't even go with a bachelor's. We go with master's prepared or doctorate, which is where most of our instructors are coming from. Master's prepared or doctorate prepared background, credentials, I should say. That's what they have. Number five, what is the NCLEX pass rate? What is your NCLEX pass rate for the school? Okay, so I could spin off into that. So basically, speaking towards the school itself, they say right now we have a graduating class coming up. And so right now we don't have any NCLEX pass rates to report. We're in quarter 2 right now. We're expecting a few graduates to finish the program. And then we should by end of the year have students testing. So we'll have that for you coming up. The second part I want to discuss is even though we don't have an NCLEX pass rate prior to starting the school, prior to the school being born, we had a program called NCLEX Prep. Did that for 5 years with many instructors, and it was online as well. We had well over 2,000 students, and they were both looking forward to pass their have LVNs, which is the same, depends on where you live, state, as well as the RN. So they were trying to pass the NCLEX. We had students who have failed the NCLEX 9 times, came to us, and we were able to help them to pass the boards. And at that point, our pass rate was about 94%. It was really up there because we had a strategy in place where we knew exactly what is required to pass the board. So we teach them how to do it within 6 weeks to 8 weeks. All depends on their how many. I mean, it's 6 to 8 weeks. Sorry, it's based on their need. So that's basically what I'm trying to say. Also, the book that I wrote, the NCLEX prep book, that's on Amazon. That's something else that we introduced into that program, and I call that book the need to know, not the nice to know, because we know all the nursing books are full of a lot of information, so we took the fluff out of it and gave them the meat and potato, exactly what they need to know. So we use that, including all the strategies that we already have, and we were able to help the students pass the boards. In addition to that, we also had students who were actually in nursing school that was using our program online. So we knew that we had a really high quality service that we were providing, and the videos that they were watching was just like it's extremely beneficial to anyone. That's graduates as well as students and instructors in the program. So, with that said, we know that we have the recipe to do what we need to do. So we're not worried about not having the students not passing the boards, because that's also that course we incorporated it into our program, and that's the very last course a student will take called NCLEX readiness, 10 weeks long, live, and it's online, but you have a weekly sessions, and we incorporate all of it, and it's testing, and mock quizzes, mock exams, all of it, and we that at that point that's where we'll determine if the student is ready or not to pass the boards or send them to the boards for that.